The Joe Rogan Experience.
Well, it's also that they're doing it publicly. So they're doing it I mean, if you're either reading comments or you're reading articles. And if you're reading articles, they're just looking for something to be upset about. They'll watch you and they'll say, okay, is this a viable target? Yes, we got confirmation. What he said about changing diapers or his wife being a better parent is a viable target. Let's go after him. And then they just formulate some bullshit argument about who you really are based on what might have been a throwaway or a concession to your wife or even just a compliment to your wife or being self-deprecating to yourself.
What it was.
Yeah, but it doesn't. They're not looking at things rationally. They're just looking at targets. Particularly people that write articles. You know, what's the best article? It's got to be negative. Like one of the things that came out of all this Facebook algorithm stuff is you find out that Facebook realized somewhere early on that the way to encourage engagement is to get people upset. They get way more engaged and they go back and forth and interact with these posts way more if they're upset than they do if they agree with it. If they agree with it, they might give it a like or a thumbs up and say, hey, that's great, and that's it. That's where it ends. But if, someone's talking about, we shouldn't build the wall, we should let everyone in, and you put that on some fucking Trump guy's page, and it's crazy. I mean, you will get thousands and thousands and thousands of interactions. And so Facebook realized that the way to keep people, and they could claim that it's an algorithm and the algorithm just supports whatever the people are really interested in. But what they're interested in is conflict.
That demonstrates my earlier point, which I made up on the spot, that AI is not a neutral thing. It is resourced from human perspectives, and because that is a type of AI, not as complex as what we're going to experience, and I can't even imagine. But what I'm saying is it's still resourced from a human perspective. Yeah. And yes, of course, we are evolved to respond more strongly to negativity than positivity for loads of reasons. And I think that's where we can stitch back to what we were saying about taking personal responsibility for who you are. Like that. None of us have to sit on social media going, fuck you. Like none of us have to do that. We can try and resolve those. I respect that some people don't have any other outlets. They don't have the privileges I have of being able to go to support groups where people openly talk about, this is the ways that I felt inferior today. This is the ways that I'm trying to become a better man and a better father and a better co-worker. Like a lot of people aren't afforded those environments, and probably the best shot they got is having a go at someone online, and those people, in a way deserve love and sympathy. But until we, on some level, recognise that we can alter our own behaviours, we can alter our own consciousness, I don't see how there's going to be... Well, at least then we can create a terrain upon which a better systems can start to flourish.
Do you read comments?
No. I actually, I'm too sensitive. I can just about manage to listen to people's replies to my conversation. I don't go on to... I work with someone who does my social media, and she gives me stuff like, here, I'll respond to these things, put some output on that, because I don't want to engage with that. I don't want to walk up and down any street knocking on the door going, do you like me? Do you like me? Do you like me? I don't want to deal with people's responses in various conditions.
Well, it's also much like the articles. The way people get a response out of you, or the way to people to get your reaction, is to say something really negative. You look at sometimes when people are not that savvy when it comes to social media, one of the things that you'll notice is they'll interact, and I've been guilty of this in the past before I sort of realized what I was doing. You would only respond to negative things. Like people are arguing with people. Meanwhile, people are saying nice things to you and you ignore them. Yeah. It's because you at a certain level, you don't have the physical time. It doesn't exist to respond to everyone. It's not possible. If you get 13,000 comments on one of your posts, how the fuck does anyone have time to respond to 13,000 people? You can't. And then you have email, and you have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and just there's no way. There's not enough time in this world.
So you would personally would have responded to things that caused the more visceral...
Yeah, if I saw someone saying something that was untrue, I'd be like, fuck you, that's untrue. But then I realized, why? What are you doing? This is a new thing for people. There's never been a time where people have had this instantaneous interaction with people, unfiltered, unmoderated, globally. Yeah. I mean, it's very strange to be able to do that, and to be able to go back and forth, and just to be able to give your comments on things, to be able to talk about things. It's very addictive to people.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why I'm very cautious with it. I have to sort of set my life out like I'm essentially a monk in a marriage. That's basically where I live. Get up, meditate, do yoga, do exercises, do things that are positive for you. Watch the way that you're thinking.